Let's try this again. There's two reasons I'm reshooting this video. One, I feel like they got blown into the whole drinking issue. Yeah, I don't want to get into that. Two, it got flagged right away. So, and no matter what thumbnail I changed it to, it still got flagged. So, video I saw which said that if you just change it to a plain black, I may try that with them, but if I just have a plain black thumbnail, then nobody's going to click on anything. So, there's that problem. Anyways, so the original draft age, let me just go ahead and grab the article, where they're talking about prospects discussing prospects and whether or not they should be getting drafted at an earlier age. Because Ken Linsman fought against the draft and won. He won the right to be drafted earlier than anybody had been before. The draft age had been, and that's what I'm looking at, I believe it was 20. And then it got changed because Ken Linsman fought it. So while Ken Linsman may be remembered as the first rat, there we go. Well, the NHL raised the draft age to 19. 40 years ago, a 19-year-old kid, Ken Linsman, thought he was old enough, mature enough. Opened up the process to 18-year-old players where previously only 20-year-olds could be drafted into the league. So the original draft age was here. Okay. He got it lowered to here. And the idea is they're looking at maybe making it here. Now, my issue is this. And I stated this in the first take, and I'm going to try to be a little more eloquent in it this time. If you're ready, you're ready. If you're not ready, you may get passed over. Tanner Pearson's a good example. He was a guy that was in his last year of draft eligibility when LA picked him up, and he's turned out to be a pretty solid hockey player. So he got passed over. Teams passed him over. And the idea is that it's going to be 19. Now, if you make it 19, players will challenge it. This is a world of litigation now. Players will challenge it. So if you're projected, let's say you're projected to go in the first round. So you're projected to go in the first round, say 23rd overall. You're going to go 23rd overall. But you drop in the draft. Maybe you're too small. Maybe teams pass on you because you're seen as too slow. Maybe you couldn't do a chin-up. Whatever it is. And you drop to, say, third round status. Okay? So you drop past 60 seconds. So 60 seconds here, and you drop past it. The third round, let's say the NHL makes the third round, so you have to be 19 and up. Or 20 and up. And you're 18. You're supposed to go in the first round, and you don't go until the third. You've lost potentially a year in the NHL and a year's worth of money. And you can go to a lawyer, just like Ken Linsman did. Linsman went and said, this isn't right. I'm 19. I feel I can play right now. And he won. And the age got dropped to 18. The age of majority. And I'm not getting into ages of everything because it really gets dumb when you get, you get into what you're legally allowed to do at what age and where responsibility lies. It really gets fuzzy quickly because there's plenty of things that I think people are allowed to do at 16 which could affect the rest of their lives. Anyways, but at 18 right now you're allowed to play in the NHL, and we can all come up with how the league's getting younger. I believe the average age of the league, or no, this is the first time ever that we've seen most players under the age of 27. So the NHL, over half the league now is under 27. Never happened before. So at a time when that's happening, so guys who are coming into the league at this age are more ready. Veterans are getting kicked out of the league sooner than they've ever been. The idea of raising this to 19 might seem good to some because a 19-year-old you're drafting is more ready than an 18-year-old in terms of you know what you're getting. But the in-between, let's say they change this for 2019. 2019 draft picks, especially third round and beyond, let's say you allow 18-year-olds in the first and second round, those third round and beyond picks aren't worth a whole lot. So teams who are near the bottom of the league, say for instance Vegas has a bad year next year, and they end up with the first pick in the 3rd round. Well, they're not going to want it to be devalued because some guy who could have been drafted 23rd was going to drop to the 3rd round. And now they're not allowed to have him, and they have to instead go to somebody who was eligible last year. So if they want to move that pick just got devalued. They're not going to be happy about that. The one thing that you have to ask yourself is, would there be enough traction for this for more than half of NHL ownership to vote in favor of it, and then for the NHLPA to be on side with it? Because the other side of this is the NHLPA. The NHL Players Association was to allow the ownership group to have that kind of sway. They may be concerned with where else that sway is. Look at the Olympics. They let the NHL have their discretion with the Olympics this coming winter, and they don't have anything to do with it. Now the NHLPA isn't allowed to play in the Olympics. And I still see it as a move by the NHL to try to push their next collective bargaining agreement. I don't think it has a whole lot to do with where the Olympics are or the time change or money. I think it has to do as much with getting leverage with players. So I can't see the NHLPA getting on board with this being changed to this without getting something else back. So if this happens, it'll happen in the next CBA. And this could be a major sticking point, especially if owners say we should go back to 20. And even fans at that point would go, wait, what? Why are we going to 20? Because look at the amount of kids who are 18 and 19 that are in the NHL right now. It's a large number compared to what it would have been 10 years ago, compared to even 5 years ago. We used to worry you're rushing a guy into the NHL, and that does happen, but not like it used to. These kids are more physically ready. These kids are more prepared for the long grind of an 82-game schedule than they were 5 or 10 years ago. To now decide you're going to change this, to me, raising this draft age beyond 18 would have had more traction 10 or 15 years ago than it's going to have now. What you're looking at now is you're looking at players who are more ready and telling them, we know you're more ready than your counterparts from 10 years ago, but we've decided to raise the draft age. Because there's another side to this. There's another side to this. Remember, your unrestricted free agent years are decided by years of service to the NHL. You come into the league, you burn off a year of your contract as an 18-year-old. You're a year closer to being an unrestricted free agent than you would be at 19. What the NHL would be doing, especially if they raised it to 20, is meaning that guys go unrestricted later. You're taking that eligibility potentially away from them. So again, this is, in the end, this is going to be more about the money that players would lose, the unrestricted free agency they would lose, arbitration rights they would lose. You'd be eligible for arbitration a year later. You'd be an RFA a year later. It wouldn't affect the lesser lights. It wouldn't affect the 3rd round and beyond as much. But if they decided to go entirely to 19 plus, it affects star players. And even though I said lesser lights 3rd round through 7th, the truth is there's still star players that are going to be in those rounds. There are still players who are going to get taken in later rounds who are now a year later eligible for this, a year later eligible for arbitration, only for the reason that maybe the NHL wants to get its books in line. If the NHL comes up and says it's time to raise the draft age, I would expect a fight from the NHLPA. But you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, which I'm sure will be fun. And I want to make a statement here in a video too. Any comment that I've ever deleted has been troll in its entirety. So if you make a decent comment on a video, I never delete it. I've tried to foster a community where everybody can feel included and not feel like they're getting attacked, which online is not easy. Online is just a mess. So I do my best. I know I'm not perfect. I do my best. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the draft age and the limit and raising it and whether that's a good idea or not. And yeah, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. I'll talk to you again soon.